Okay, so first item on the agenda is we're going to swear in our newly appointed board member, Biro Patel. So we have Honorable, our new county clerk, Nancy Pinkin, is going to do the swearing in. So please. Crystal, move the garbage can away. It doesn't look good. There you go. That's fine. Just do it there.
Raise your right hand.
Switch. There you go. You stay
Okay.
here. So we're in a picture.
Do you want
We
to
all
take your
got it?
coat off for a second? Want to take your coat off?
You want to take your coat out?
Take your coat off?
Okay, sure.
Huh?
That's
Sure.
what I'm gonna
All right,
You
we
good?
can take it off.
I
Go ahead.
think
Where-
this
we
side
got-
looks cool.
Yeah, you can take it off for a second. It's okay. It's adorable. Okay. All right, ready? Okay, this is an important day for your dad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for helping him.
Raise your hand.
And you're in first grade, you said, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think? You like it?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Even worse thing for Edison schools. Okay, so Baral, repeat after me. It's a little bit long, especially the second part, but you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
I,
Baral
Biral
Patel,
Patel,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same,
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
All right, stage two. I, Baral Patel,
I, Biral Patel,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess the qualifications
that I possess the qualifications
prescribed by the law
prescribed by the law
for the office
for the office
of member
of member
of a Board of Education,
of the Board of Education,
and that I am not
and that I am not
disqualified
disqualified
as a voter
as a voter
pursuant to
pursuing to
RS
RS
19:14,
19
colon
4
dash 1,
1
nor disqualified
or disqualified
due to the conviction
due to the conviction
of a crime or offense
of a crime or offense
listed in
listed in
NJSA
NJSA
18:12-1,
12-1,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of that office according to
according to
the best of my ability,
the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, we just have a couple of minutes so people can take pictures, take your time. Come on, go take pictures. Special moment.
Bless you. God bless you.
Yeah, parents. Come. Bima, move. Anybody else? Come on, take pictures. Of course, I'll take pictures.
Yeah, you're good. Congratulations. Rita, you gotta come upstairs now.
All right, see, look, we can have almost have a council meeting here. We have Councilman Joe Coyle, Councilwoman Joyce Ship Freeman, and I saw Mr. Brescher over there. Just missed a couple, one more person. We can have a forum here. Or quorum. Huh? Quorum meeting, huh? Oh, illegal meetings. No, it's not a quorum, so it's okay. It's okay. It's all right.
It's just,
All right, so yeah, we just have a couple minutes. Let people, if want to leave, they can leave. Then we'll resume our meeting. Oh, we also have the Woodbridge Councilman, Vero Patel there. I'm sorry I missed you. Hi, Vero.
Oh, Woodbridge Councilman.
Yes, Woodbridge, Vero, Mr. Patel, yes. Okay, all right. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the meeting, roll call.
Mr. Shi,
Here,
Mr. Mohin Patel,
here.
Ms. Peng,
Here.
Ms. Conway,
Here.
Dr. Chen,
Here.
Ms. Podolsky,
Here.
Ms. Madiker,
Here.
Ms. White,
Here.
Mr. Burrell Patel,
Here.
all present.
thank you. Opening statement, the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Edison Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Board of Education administrative offices. Copies of the notices were sent to the Home News Tribune and Star Ledger on January 5th, 2021. The public may participate at regular meetings in accordance with the bylaws and the applicable state regulations. So first, let's public comments, resolutions only. So anyone who has comments about the resolutions, come here to the podium. You guys can make any comments. Anyone? Resolutions? See none? Right. Oh, oh, Joyce.
Oh, yeah, no,
Oh,
Oh, okay, the agenda. Sorry.
no? Okay.
No, she just wants to see.
All
the
right.
agenda.
All right. Okay, good, come back. The open session, okay? So, all right, so let's move on. The resolution, let's go to the personnel only, first. Can I have a motion from any board members, personnel?
Motion.
Mr. Patel, can I have a second? Shivi? Any board member comments on the personnel? Personnel? See none? Roll call?
Mr. Burrell Patel,
All abstain on that?
Mrs. White,
I have to abstain on Edison High's boys spring track and J.P. Stevens boys volleyball head coach. Everything else is fine.
okay. Ms. Madiker,
Yes.
Ms. Podolsky,
Yes.
Dr. Chen,
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Conway,
Yes.
Ms. Peng,
Yes.
Mr. Mohin Patel,
Yes, with a question though, just in regards to the time frame for the coaching, in regards to, it says January 26th. So for the coaching, is it for the winter session or for the spring session that we had, or for both?
Which one? Which page?
On the stipend section.
Which page? The multiple.
Page 13 of 14.
The spring track, the volleyball, the lacrosse, softball, those are spring sports.
Okay, thank you.
So-
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes. All right, move on.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. Move on, the administration, board, school board recognition month. Can I have a motion on that?
Motion.
Mr. Patel? Okay, Shivi? Roll call?
Mr. Burrell Patel?
I'll abstain.
Mrs. White?
Yes.
Mrs. Madiker?
Yes.
Ms. Podolsky?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Ms. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Mohin Patel?
Yes.
And Mr. Shi?
Yes. Number 3,
Motion
curriculum.
is carried.
Thank you. Number 3, curriculum and instruction, textbook approval, professional development, approval documentation. Can I have a motion on that?
Mr. Shi, can I just weigh in before we take the motion?
Yes.
There's a mistake on the textbooks. It should be for the 2021, 2022 school year. If the record, the minutes could reflect that. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shi.
Thank you. Okay. Mrs. Manuka, do I have a second? Okay. Mr. Badowski. So any comments on that before we? So I do have a comment, and I asked this last time. So Dr. Reagan, how much is the textbook for all these?
Yeah, the approximate cost for those 4 groups of textbooks for the science classes and the math classes is approximately $25,000 for the classroom sets as well as the digital versions that are needed.
Okay. So moving forward, do they have online? They have online version as well, right?
Correct.
Do we pay additional subscription fee, next year for licenses on those, or this is a one-time deal?
I believe the subscription for the online version is 5 to 6 years for most of the textbooks.
So the 25,000 covers 5-6 years.
Yes, correct. Those books are not for large groups of sections. As you can see, they're advanced science and math courses. So those aren't covering, 10, 15 sections each. It's a
Okay.
limited number of students.
All right, thank you. So hope next time when we approve this at the caucus meeting, we have the price tag attached, if that's okay.
Fair enough.
All right, thank you.
Hold, can I say something?
Yes?
Dr. Wigan, this is a per year cost, or this is just, because I just got an email from Berlinda, and that was for the elementary science book, that was, she said for 5 years, it was 89, let me see that number.
It's not on here.
The elementary book is not here.
It's not on here.
So this is the
This is
math
just
book?
high school. This is only high school.
Oh, only the high school math
Yeah.
and physics book?
Yeah.
Yeah, the science books that were in the, I believe they're in the Curriculum Technology Committee report, we're not voting on those today. This is
We're
just
not
for those
voting on
math
that.
textbooks.
Okay,
And science, I'm sorry, high school.
the physics and the science, right?
Correct.
Yes, okay then, okay. I'm good.
Okay, any other comments on this, on the curriculum instruction? Okay, we already have the motion, right?
Yes.
Okay, so roll call.
Mr. Burrell Patel?
Abstain.
Mrs. White?
Yes.
Ms. Madiker?
Yes.
Ms. Podolsky?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Ms. Conway?
Yes.
Mrs. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Mohin Patel?
Yes.
And Mr. Shi?
Yes,
The motion is carried.
okay. Out-of-district placements. Motion, okay. Mrs. Maduka, second. Oh, Dr. Chen.
Okay. Mr. Burrell Patel?
Abstain.
Mrs. White?
Yes.
Mrs. Madiker?
Yes.
Ms. Podolsky?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Ms. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Mohin Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes. On the finance,
Motion is carried.
thank you. On the finance section, the approval of minutes, Board Secretary report, finance resolutions. Any comments from board members? None? I do have a comment on number 8 for the finance resolution on the donation from Oak Tree Realty. I really appreciate that the local business helping our school district, but the item they donated is 130 fleece jacket and 130 heaters for use within the district. At my work, we do not allow space heaters. We do not allow coffee makers. We do not allow air purifiers in the workspace. So I do not think it's a good idea to have the space heaters in the school. Again, this is not, I want to pose this agenda item so we can discuss whether this is the best use of these heaters in the school.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
So, can we donate these to needy families, needy children? You know, not, if we don't need it in our schools, we could donate it to students?
So if that's way, then it's not the school board taking that. We'll have the on-track realty donate to whatever they want. But I like to discuss this because I do worry about space heaters in our schools, because in my workplace, that's not allowed. And when our cleaning crew see that, they will confiscate those heaters and any personal devices.
Mr. Shea, I'm more than willing to defer to the board president's position of tabling this for further discussion, but I do not believe that the space heaters, the heaters, or the jackets were intended for use within the building. They were simply going to offer those to any employees who may want them to use in their homes or to use the jackets at their leisure. They were not really giving them for the workday in case somebody needed them. It was a gesture of kindness, and we thought we would accept it on behalf of anyone who wanted it, and then we could distribute to either needy families or employees that so wanted those goods. But I defer to the board president.
Yeah, the other things, I'm not sure that if the board accepts it and the people use it at their home and something happens, are we liable for that? So why don't we just table this, we'll discuss it. If everyone thinks okay, we'll bring it back. Otherwise, we'll contact the on-track realty. Can I have a motion I have a motion to table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Patel, can I have a roll call to table this item?
Mr. Burrell Patel?
Yes.
Mrs. White?
Yes.
Mrs. Madiker?
No.
Mrs. Podolsky?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Ms. Conway?
Yes to table.
Ms. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Mohan Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes. All right, so we
Motion is
have,
carried.
all right, so it's tabled. So we have a motion for the remaining 2 items, right? Can I have a motion for that? Okay. Mrs. Maduka and Dr., this is Mrs. Penn. Roll call?
Mr. Burrell Patel?
Abstain.
Mrs. White?
I have to abstain on the minutes for December 2020, but everything else is good.
Okay. Mrs. Madiker?
Yes.
Mrs. Podolsky?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Ms. Conway?
Yes.
Mrs. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Mohan Patel?
Abstain on the minutes and yes to everything else.
And Mr. Shi?
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried.
Okay, committee reports, Curriculum and Technology Committee, Mrs. Penn.
Okay, so the CTC committee has a meeting on January 15th, 2021 at 12 p.m. In attendance, it's me, Yuna Chen, Mohin Patel, Shivi, Gail, Beninda, and Diane. The items we discussed, first we discussed the revised and new curriculums. We are adding several new courses to the high school program studies. These courses will add more diversity to curriculum while meeting the requirement of the state mandates and appealing to students' interests. In addition, many of these courses will meet the dual enrollment requirement for Middlesex County College. There's a list here. I'm just going to highlight some of the few courses. For example, Introduction to Global Studies, Diversity and Multiculturalism in U.S. Society, and AP Art History. And there's like total of about 10 of them. Then we discussed the new textbook. This is, we're offering two new courses, mostly to our seniors. This is Calculus 3. This is for the students who wish to continue math or engineering studies, and Integrated Science. This is for students who wish to enroll in a survey science for a 4th year of science course. The previous committee already talked about the textbook. We talked about it briefly again, and we choose the textbook that best meets these state standards. For elementary science program, we have been looking for a good science program for our elementary school since about a year ago. The textbook is called, the program is called Elevated Science. It has been piloted in our elementary school and received good comments from teachers and students. This program included printed teacher and students materials. Some of them are consumables, digital access, and lab kits. This program is aligned with next generation science standards and provides support for teachers with embedded professional development. Students are given a scientific process workbook to be used throughout the lessons. Also, digital access allows the students to view experiments, experience complete work online, as well as explore additional related concepts. So this would be a good improvement. AVID program, there's a district committee led by Supervisor Christine. We're revamping the AVID program, so we're making this more Edison-friendly. Mostly, we're making it more available. Right now, it's only available in Edison High. We are thinking about making it available to all the students in the school, including maybe starting from 6th grade even. So this program just mostly benefit for students, helping them developing skills and mindsets for academic success, college, and career goals. Lastly, we talk about the online courses. This is just in very early stage. We're trying to alleviate some of the overcrowding problem by introducing online courses. So students might be able to take this at home instead of having to use a classroom. The high school are looking to offer some online courses for the next school year. So we're going to continue to discuss this, and hopefully we're going to hear more about it. The meeting adjourned about 1 p.m. That's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Penn. Any board members' comments for Mrs. Penn on the minutes?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Shannon, on the elementary science program, it was already piloted, but how many schools was it piloted in?
Bernardo has the numbers, but I think it's almost every school they were piloting. I don't know how many classes, but when we talk about it, she said every school it has been piloting every elementary school.
And were there any other programs that were also piloted, but this one was chosen?
I don't think so. I think this is the only one. Yeah.
Dr. Brigham?
I don't think we have many choices. It doesn't seem like we have a lot to choose from.
We can get that information for the full board, and I'll report that out tomorrow, if that makes sense.
Okay, any other comments for Mrs. Penn? Okay. All right, so move on. Upcoming meetings. So the next caucus meeting will be Thursday on February 18th. We're going back to Edison High at 7 o'clock. And the public meeting is at Edison High again on February 23rd at 7 p.m. Okay. Now we're open for board member comments. Mr. Patel, I think you have some comments.
Thank you very much, everyone who came here today, everyone watching online. It's really an honor. Thank you so much to the Board of Education for providing an honor to serve for this position. I will try my best to maintain the honor, dignity, and the integrity of this position. The fact that so many well-qualified residents applied for this position is really incredible, and that makes me more humble. In last meeting, during the last week, during the presentation, I went over more details about my volunteering and community service, because that's the part of my resume which is unpaid, similar to this new BOE position. So for those who know me from my community service and volunteering all these years, and for those who are cheering for me, thank you very much. For those who do not know me and would like and are interested, I would like to introduce my credentials. I have bachelor's and master's degree in computer science with over 35 professional certifications. I work for IBM Watson Health in healthcare and technology domain. I'm a proud parent of a child in Edison Township Elementary School. I would like to get back to my volunteering and community service because that's really my passion. And I would like to say a quote from my guru, Pramukh Swami Maharaj, "In the joy of others lies our own." I very passionately believe in that. And I would do my very best to make sure that I work very hard, very passionately for every single resident, educators, and students of this town. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other board member comments?
Welcome aboard, B-roll.
All right, so I have a couple comments. We have a, this pandemic is very, very hard for the students and for the community. So there were requests before that if we can open up the sports field, the soccer field, the tennis court, so we can allow our students to come after they're done with the school to play around and get some outdoor exercise. So can we consider that?
We can absolutely consider that, Board President Chi. We want to look at just to make sure, in the past, when we left the fields and the gates at the two high schools open, there was some vandalism that took place both on the fields and the stadium and some of the buildings that are in the surrounding areas, like the food stands and things like that. But in order to provide some structure for our students outside the school day, we will look at how best we can do that and keep the facility safe as well. Absolutely.
Okay. So the other thing, just to add what the Bureau said, we had a lot of good candidates who applied for the position. We had 12 candidates. So I just want to thank them. If they're in the audience, I just want to call their name, if you can just stand up. Mr. Cristo Macapradas. Okay. Tony D. Pascal. You keep standing. Okay. Yash Pandya. Yash is not here. Padma Jacinta. Sunil Roberts. Keep standing. Brad Baker. Brad is not here. Dr. Buomono. Buomono. And let's see what else. Aquil Daniels, not here. Bureau's here. Sparsha Patel. Joe Romano. And Ryan Rivera. Thank you, guys. Really, thank you for your commitment. We need a lot of you guys to continue to work with us so we can move our district forward. Talking about working together, making the district forward, I'd like to announce that we're going to have a task force for our budget. Every year, the budget has, people say it's something that they don't know. So during our campaign, we spoke to a lot of residents. They expressed a lot of interest in helping the district with the budget, they have a lot of work experience to see what we can cut certain things here and there to reduce the tax burdens. So I like to form a small task force with about 4 or 5 residents together. We'll work with them during our budget process the phase. Right now, we're starting the process now, and we're going to get them into the process so we can work together and be transparent of what we're doing. So it's going to be a very small number, about 4 or 5 people. If you have an interest, please send email to me and Mohin. Then we'll contact you. But the precondition is, since we're working on these budgets, the budgets are still work in process. Before we announce to the public, let's keep it confidential. So anyone who work on this task force, we need to sign a non-disclosure agreement until the budget becomes public. I hope you understand that, okay? So anyone who is interested, send an email to me and Mohin, and we'll try to see if we can, get that next week. Okay, thank you. Set your email, man. Follow the process, man. Okay. All right, so that's it for board member comments. Now we're open for public comments. Yes, Maria.
Maria Orchid, 83 Jefferson. Thank you everybody for having this meeting today. My first point of contention is I was wondering if we know what kind of harm we're inflicting on our children by keeping them virtual. How are we meeting the children's needs? What is the suicide rate for the children that have to be at home because of this pandemic? Are we reaching out to them for help? Are we reaching out for the parents for help? What kind of socializations are we having with these children? What kind of support groups are we doing with these children? My next thing is, have we met with the township to discuss our overcrowding issues? Are there any plans to meet with the township to going forward, to come up with some type of solution when the schools do open and everyone comes back? What programs have you put in place for the students that have lost precious time, that are regressing or not keeping up with their assignments? Are the taxpayers getting any tax rebate or tax back for the services that aren't being offered? How are we helping our trades programs for students who don't want to go to college? And the last one, can we have some Board of Education meetings on Zoom again? Sometimes the parents can't be here to express their concerns because they're home with their kids. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yes. All right, so Dr. Bragan, you want to start? And, you know what, why don't we have Mrs. White start on the township side?
Hi, today I reached out to Council President Deal to schedule an appointment, with a group of people for the liaison committee. I did send him an email. I haven't received an answer as yet. So as soon as we do, we'll be able to get started with that. But that, was a big, big concern for all of us. The other thing is Gloria Dittman from the Art Society was in touch with me today, and they'd like to start a project as well. So I'm waiting for her to forward the information to me. So as soon as I gather all this, I'll be more than happy to share it. But thank you for bringing it up. Very important.
And we just have a councilwoman here. She told me she is the member on the township, what do you call it? School board liaison committee, right? So we have Joyce and Sam Joshi, and who else? AJ? Okay, so 3 of them. all right? So looking forward to the meeting, the collaboration with the council, the new team. All right, educator, right? You know what we need. Thank you very much. All right, Dr. Bragan, the remaining of the
Sure.
easy questions.
Yeah, and just on the same thing with the coordination with the township, we've been working with the mayor's office and trying to coordinate some of the properties. We've talked at this meeting about the old National Guard base off in the Truman. We've talked about the Stelton School possibilities, and we're continuing to talk with the township about those possibilities. What that actually looks like in practice, I don't know, and we're looking at doing everything we can in partnering. We have a great working relationship with the town council members as well as the president as well as the mayor, and doing all that we can to offset the overcrowding because it is an issue. As you heard at the curriculum committee report too, we're looking at the possibility of expanding some of the online courses when this is over for some of our high school students. Many colleges offer hybrid instruction as a mode of instruction even when there isn't a pandemic, and moving towards some degree of that. Possibly, we haven't had this discussion at the board level outside the committees, could help prepare them for that college life and also ease some of our overcrowding if that was offered to a group of students, and we would only be looking at the high school level potentially. So those are some of the things. But we are obviously always open to working with the township on open spaces and buildings and places that we could utilize for education. Regarding are we aware of the dangers and what our students are going through in the totally remote? 100%. If I could say tomorrow we open J.P. Stevens and all 2,600 students come back, I would do it. But I can't say that, and we can't do it as a board and feel comfortable that everybody could be safe in that type of environment. So we're not doing it because we're erring on the side of caution for health and wellness. And while we do recognize that there are some learning losses and difficulties, I think those are better than having people actually pass away because they got exposed to the virus in school. We don't want that. We hope that doesn't happen. We hope nobody gets ill anymore, and we're doing the best we can. If you follow the media, like I try to be data-driven and look at all the information from the Centers for Disease Control and the Johns Hopkins information, this is about 10 days in a row where the overall metrics as far as new incidence of cases, hospitalizations, and deaths have declined. It would look like, with my fingers crossed, that we're getting beyond the spike from the holidays, which everyone in the country anticipated would happen. However, as we're going down the downward trajectory, 5,000 cases a day in New Jersey is still over 1,000 more than at our worst time in March and April. So we're not ready yet. We're not ready. And I want to come back more than anybody. But I don't think it's prudent to do it unless we could assure the safety and well-being of our staff and students. And the board, in the conversations we had together, is committed to the same thing. The well-being of the students at home, we do have counselors working them. We have extra support services in place. We have made home visits to students that have a need. So we are aware of the issues that our children go through on a regular basis, which may even be exacerbated when they're spending most of their time at home. So we're doing the best we can with that. I think I answered most of those questions.
Do you have programs in place to help the student make up their lost time?
We do have some programs in
Do you have
place. for-
tax rebate?
Well, the tax rebate, I can't speak to that because the only body that can tax it is the township and not the school board, but nonetheless, is the township. But we do have some programs in place for students that are struggling and falling behind and are at risk, and we have some of those programs set up. We've done it already. It's been proactive. It was in place in the fall, and it is in place now to provide supportive services for students who are failing and not doing well academically, or even just need the emotional support of a small group environment within, a Zoom-type environment as best as we can to replicate that service. And the taxpayer relief, I'm just going to say, again, I half-jokingly made a comment that the school board cannot tax, which is accurate, but the school, the teachers, the administrators, the counselors, myself, we're providing the service. We're doing the best we can to provide the support, the education to our students in a virtual world to the greatest extent possible. And I think for the majority of our educators, and myself included, I'm working a lot more hours and putting a lot more time in because it's more difficult this way. So I don't think the idea that somehow our teachers aren't doing what they need to do and should be, there should be some, I don't think that's, I think that's flawed logic, but that's my own personal opinion. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
just
Shi?
the other about Zoom or board meetings, we can look into it, okay? And the other thing is about trade schools, as Dr. Brigham mentioned that, he has been working with MCC. It's not called MCC anymore, what is it called?
Middlesex College.
Middlesex College, I'm sorry.
They lost the C.
Okay. MC, okay. Middlesex College. And we will definitely look into working with possible, trade unions or whatever. They have any training programs. We're going to look into that. And not everyone is going to go to college, right? That's the reality. And we need to get these students ready. So, for me, that are those 3 C's in our school district, right? For the kids who's ready to go to college, we need to make them college ready. For the kids who's not going to go to college, we need to make sure they're career ready. And the most important thing, our school district students, they need to be good citizens. So 3 C's is what we try to accomplish, right?
Just on that, Mr. Shi, you reminded me of something. Do you mind if I weigh in on that?
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Ms. Polakowski is in charge of our secondary instructional program. She brought to me a while ago a couple programs about vocational opportunities, and one of those is Micro Works. If you guys are familiar with Dirty Jobs and Deadliest Catch, Micro from TV
Yeah.
fame and
Yeah,
Discovery Channel. Well, he has a project called Micro Works where they set up scholarship programs for people to enter into the trades, because believe it or not, in this country, we have a shortage of tradesmen, people that are welders, people that are pipe fitters and steam fitters. And while a college education is something that we aspire for many of our kids, for some of our kids, the path is best chosen in a vocation that can earn them more than a living wage and a successful life. So I applaud Ms. Polakowski for bringing that to my attention. And we're going to look at applying for some of those grants using Mrs. Lopez, that she has done such a great job for us in getting grants. And with the Middlesex County College, their president, he's exceptionally committed to partnering with the schools, especially us, because it's in our own backyard, Middlesex College, of which I went to myself. And not only do we want to have a dual enrollment program where students can graduate with their diploma and also an associate's degree, but we're looking at the trades, the technicians, the radiology technicians, the dental hygienist programs, the LPN nursing programs that are offered at the county college, and have that partnership begin in high school. So the transition is not only cheaper, but it's almost, it's more than halfway done potentially when they get there. So we're in all those conversations because as the board president said, those are really important options for many of our kids. Not all, but we're a comprehensive high school. We have everybody from students going to West Point, Annapolis, and Harvard to students that are going directly into the workforce. So we want to be able to cover all those as best we can. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, the other thing just reminded me that I read it somewhere that, in the Radon Center, there's a big carpenters union building. It's
Sure.
really, really nice building. I think they have some kind of training programs. I don't know if we can work with them to get into our school to help these kids who are ready to get into the trade area, not into go to college, get them ready, trained for all of that. Just like you said, the trade is needed.
Jerry, I think
Yes.
Ms. Conway has a question.
Okay, sorry.
I just wanted to say, the best education that the students are going to get is going to be in the classroom. And until that time, the teachers are working so diligently to do the best they can. And I just want to say, today, Mrs. White and I were invited to a breakout room for one of the classes at the EELC, which you would think the little ones would have the most difficulty with that remote learning. Well, we went and we attended virtually, and the teacher, Mrs. Judy McQuillan, was absolutely fabulous. Those little ones were so attentive. It went for a straight half an hour. 4-year-olds able to attend to the lessons for that period of time was unbelievable. And I said to her, I didn't think this was possible, that you'd be able to do this, especially with the little ones. But the teachers are working so diligently, and when I speak to different ones at different times and I hear everything that they're working on, I am just so impressed and know that they are doing the best job they could possibly do for these students. And until that time, when we get back into the classroom, I actually feel confident that our teachers are doing a phenomenal job for our students. And with the extra programs that have been initiated into the program so far to give added support, I actually feel confident that I thank Dr. Bragan for his leadership and for the incentive that's gone out to the entire staff to feel comfortable that they're doing the right thing for our students.
Thank you. I just want to add something that, special ed population is dear in our heart. They need the extra attention, so I think Dr. Bragan's also trying to work something out. But, right now, there's nothing to report. We'll try to work on it. Once we have something, that we'll let the public know. So, yeah, it's important to us, the special ed students. So any other board member comments? I'm sorry, public comments? Yeah, you're going, okay. Yes, you, yes.
I think he's next.
At the outset, I want to thank the board for this month of recognition.
Name, address, please.
Sorry?
Name.
Sunil Robert Vupula, and including the freshman board member, congratulations, looking forward. When there's so much of a bench waiting in the wings to serve, it's only a good sign for the township and the community at large that there is so much of vibrancy in the community. I want to just change gears and just talk a little about some of the losses that are happening in the social skills element, a topic very dear to me, particularly at the outbound high school and kids. For the period that we are losing, we're really going to be struggling to make up for them, because once that window is lost, there's no way. So while we can put all the extra efforts to take care of the academic side, I'm just curious to know what else can we do to sort of have, just like we are thinking of bringing some sports back or open up some sports arenas so that they can come together and play. Is there some program or idea that we can bring back some of the co-curricular and the other things that they would do in the school year in terms of leadership, public speaking, the UN, the other group activities that they are so used to doing?
Okay, that's it? All right. So, Dr. Bragan, you want to?
We are definitely aware of that, and I think you raise a great point. The social emotional learning deficits that are taking place are difficult, and those are things that we have to mitigate. And we do have plans in place. We're trying to support that as best we can remotely. It's not the same. It's not the same as being in person and, putting your hand on a child's shoulder and letting them know it's okay, right? Nothing will replace that virtually as best as we can try to do that. We do think, as you mentioned, the idea that interscholastic sports is important. And even while we were remote in September, we did have our outside sports and activities took place. And as I personally was able to witness some of those, it gave a degree of normalcy for our children, right? They're home, they're in their rooms most of the time, or their dining rooms, wherever they choose their remote learning. But for a little portion of the day, they were just kids again. They were out there kicking the ball around, throwing the ball around, and whatever other sports that we do. And we're doing all we can to try to provide that now, but we're also cognizant of the fact when we come back, those needs are going to be greater, and we have to be there. And we're looking at our supportive services and our counseling programs. We partner with Rutgers University in their mental health component. We have a number of those staff members that we employ on a regular basis in our districts, in our schools in the district, and we're going to continue to do that. And we're very cognizant of it. And we're also working with training our counselors and our teachers to be more aware of children that are struggling and to try to identify and notice those problems both remotely as we are now in our Zoom, Google Meets, Seesaw classes, but also when we come back in person to be more aware and to be more on the lookout for children that are in danger. So it's a great point and it's a concern. Thank you.
Okay.
I think he has a question.
You want to add something? No?
No.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Good evening. Will Thomas, 35 Markham Road. My voice is a little choppy. I currently own a minor league football team called the Jersey Sharks. And we had the pleasure of playing at, J.P. Stevens for our home games. And I do know that the times that we're faced with, with COVID, some things have gotten suspended and, got put to the wayside. I'm just standing before you guys because, the organization that I put together, we do a lot for the community. We do some volunteer work for the Pop Warner programs. We donate money to the Eric LeGrand Fund. We actually hold the football game for the first responders against the New York City Fire and Police Departments, and we put the money to the Seller Group for 9/11. I just wanted to stand before you guys and wanted to more or less be in the conversation when you do open back up and you do allow people to, back onto the facilities that you consider my organization. We've played there for a few years now. We do the right thing. We have a big staff, a big volunteer group where after every game we clean the parking lot, we clean the bleachers. The Edison Police Department is a sponsor of ours, so they more or less police our games to make sure that nothing, that we're in full control of what's going on. So, I just wanted to more or less bring it to your attention that, we all have been affected with the COVID. And I just didn't want to be left out of the conversation because we do create a great avenue. I actually have several students that went to J.P. Stevens that actually I just, took them off the corner and put them on the football field. And they had the opportunity to play pro football over in Mexico. One of the kids is Donnell Bowles. I think he attended here. I took him right off and put him on the team, and he more or less turned his life around. And, everyone, all of you, you do your volunteer stuff, and you do it with passion, and you try to make a change. Well, this is my change. I got to play here at J.P. Stevens, and I played under Tony Simonelli and Zarro and the boys. And, the educational part was a big factor for me, but what really kept me in line, what kept me in order was the opportunity to play football and to play basketball. And the kids that I more or less target are the kids that kind of get left out because they're too old to get the services that are offered, that we offer. So, but these kids are the same kids who stand on your corners, and these are the same kids that, the kids that attend this school or other schools, they look up to them. And if they're not doing anything, and they influence the kids, so we're not done with them at 18 years old. You still have work to do. And those are the kids I target. So I just want you guys to take into consideration if, the COVID lightens up, that we be considered. Our season starts in July. We purposely do not play football during the school year because we know it's kind of hard to do that. So that's all I had to say. And thank you very much for taking the time to listen.
Yeah, send your contact, drop an email to us so we know who to contact. Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, okay. Oh, sorry.
Not yet.
I'll save the best to the last. All right.
Good evening. Let me congratulate Biral Patel.
Name, address.
I hope you'll serve
Name,
1
address.
year.
Name, address.
Venkachapandi, Edison of Edison. Okay. I think Biral, it's not the 1 year journey that you're going to be looked at. It's a 4-year journey, as I said, right? It's something that we want you to learn the ropes well and would like you to serve in the long run. So obviously there are 4 positions that will be open by November. So out of the 12 people, I think, we hope to see who is performing well. If not, then, we have an option of choosing the new people. So again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Dr. Bregan, I would like to bring a couple of issues. In fact, there is an email that has been gone out with your name to the teachers and staff that school is postponed till March 1st. A lot of parents are very furious. Why the accommodation to the teachers that they can plan better for 4 days. Why the parents are not given the same courtesy? Because a lot of parents on the Facebook and WhatsApp are questioning that we all committed to come to the office on Monday morning, and now where would we find babysitters or nannies at home to take care of the kids? I hope the parents are treated with the same urgency as the parents. Parents cannot be taken as lightly as teachers. So we wanted the information to be flown immediately because now entire social media knows the school is now postponed to March 1st. So I appreciate in future that gap can be filled. The second thing, Mr. Bregan, I shared John Adams, Mrs. Valentine, and PT were conducting an education or a seminar or a presentation for the parents because some of the parents are worried that their parents are out of state or out of country and they have been impacted by the COVID. Most of the parents are still struggling with their jobs with the kids at home, and especially few of them are having special needs, and they're banging the doors, throwing the computers, and parents couldn't work. I think if I see some of the Facebooks and WhatsApp parents, it's really not going right. And I don't know whether should I quote Jerry. Mr. Jerry shared a New York Times article that in Las Vegas, a lot of students were committing suicide, which I forwarded to you as well today morning, along with Mrs. Valentine's email. What are we doing to help our students? How can we help the parents? Because I think the stress is being put on the students, and we are also ignoring the stress that is being put on the parents as well. So I hope, it can be with council or the city or the BOE. I think there is a combined responsibility of all the elected officials to counsel the parents or the students, whatever it takes, to make things easier. As part of that, emotional health and mental health is very important, and on top of it, we are closing our school grounds, and people have to go to different places. So we are not actioning anything, in my view. And last but not least, I'm also a guilty parent of put high expectations on the kids. Now the subject SATs are cancelled. SATs may not be recognized for next 2 years. College placement is a challenge, and it's magic to us. I don't know where does the rigor come from. JP is at a disadvantage of, and even it's in high school, that we cannot let our kids to take APs. We don't have enough choices of sports. We don't give enough opportunities to be in the clubs. I don't know. I think, there should be some innovation. I know Jerry would like to cut the cost, but not at the cost of making the kids to the college. So I think, Jerry, I know even if it is a little increase in the cost, even if it is 0% don't work, if it is 0.5 or 1%, some parents truly wanted the rigor to be added in the school, and at the same time, the pressure cannot be built. If there is 50% of the parents don't want any pressure on their kid, that's fine. But we should help our kids with either APs, new clubs, or sports. How many people are getting into the varsity teams, even though they have, let's take the tennis. I feel that, only 3 or 4 people can play in tennis in JP. That means for 800, 600 kids, only 3 kids can go to the varsity team of tennis. I think, we need to look at in detail that how we can help the parents and kids. And Mr. Jerry, I know that you have said there are committees. Please announce those committees as soon as possible, so that we want to work with curriculum committee, we want to work with liaison committee, and since Joyce is here, we'll put the pressure on council too. They are equally responsible to take care of the parents and kids too. At the end of the day, you guys have to partner together, and we need to help the parents. And today, I thought of talking another one about the weighted averages. I think this is a little tricky, Mr. Bregan.
Excuse me, you continually refer to me as Mr. Bregan. Okay. It's Dr. Bregan, and it's disrespectful. It's not a mistake when you continually do that.
Okay. So is there anything wrong with Mr. Bregan? Can somebody say that Mr. is wrong?
I'm not going to address you if you keep calling me Mr. Bregan.
You don't need to respond to it. It's my time, Dr. Bregan. I don't need to call Mr. Doctor. I don't know who gave it.
If you choose to be disrespectful, that's your choice.
You could easily say, correct me. And in fact, I wrote an email.
I did correct you, and you kept going.
Okay, but you don't need to say that, I'm not an arrogant person to say Mr. or Doctor. English is a foreign language for me. You need to understand that, for me, Mr. is
It
respectable
wasn't
too.
about language.
Pardon?
It
Back
wasn't
up.
about language.
Venkat,
So what is it about?
Time
So what is the difference? Please
don't know
educate
what
us,
it's about.
please educate us,
Venkat.
difference between.
Time's up.
No, Mr. Jerry. Mr. Jerry, I will tell you sometimes that doctor and Mr. are equal to me. If it is wrong, let the lawyer say that to me.
well, you can come back.
I'm more happy to get English coaching from him, but he's not happy that he made a mistake of sending it to the staff, ignoring the parents, and now trying to retort to me
Venkat,
this way.
Venkat.
I see the retaliation, Mr. Jerry.
Venkat, time's up, okay?
Yeah.
You can come back to talk more, okay? Your time's up. We'll try to address your questions. okay?
He stopped me and you still say that my time is up, Mr. Jerry?
Your time's up. It's already,
He stopped me there. I didn't continue that. So where is the time, at what time he stopped me?
when, right before, 8 seconds? You have 8 seconds.
Okay. I will tell you, Mr. Jerry, when you guys knock my door and my people, I will tell you the same thing of 6 minutes' time. I think, it is completely ridiculous. There is a retaliation that I see over here, and you encourage as a president. I think it is
Okay.
shame to take a retaliation on a parent. I'm really sorry for that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Mr. Shea, can I
yeah,
respond to those questions?
Yeah, let the Dr. DeBregan respond to that, yes.
You know,
No, next is Councilman.
normally we have questions and then we respond to them.
Yeah.
So, there was a couple accusations there. One was about retaliation and so on and so forth. I'm not someone who beats my chest and says, call me this, call me that. But when repeatedly someone uses the salutation of Mr. instead of Doctor, I feel compelled to correct it. And if it was interpreted that was a miscommunication due to a language barrier, for that I apologize. I didn't perceive it that way. Perhaps that was my error. It's your time. It's my time now, sir. Okay.
Venkat.
It's not about legality, and you already had
One
your
at a
time.
time.
It's about respect, and you choose to show it or not. That's your choice. Well said. Regardless, the information went out. The decision was made late in the day today in consultation with the Department of Health, in consultation with our Board of Education, to postpone the return to hybrid instruction until March 1st. I already spoke to that. I do believe that's the best course of action, and as a superintendent, with the direction of the board, we made that decision. We also made the decision to inform our employees before we informed the parents. We had a board meeting tonight, otherwise we would have sent out correspondence this evening, but obviously my presence here is required and needed so that that'll come out first thing tomorrow morning. It was not anything that was done with malicious or with negative intent. It was to inform the employees prior to informing the parents. I mean no disrespect by that, but sometimes when we send all the communications out at the same time, the employees feel that they should have known ahead of time because they are the ones working for the district. As a parent, I can understand how they may perceive that the other way, and I'll own that. We will send the communication out to the parents tomorrow explaining our position. We are cognizant of the needs of the children. I mentioned that. We don't do these decisions lightly. And we're in a school district right now where our survey for the third marking period, we have about 15,000 responses out of our almost 17,000 students. 19.5% of the students chose, if they had the option, to come in person. That means more than 80% are choosing to stay home whether we're open or not. That's the vast majority of our families. And to ignore them, to come in and make it more difficult for everyone in the hybrid model when there is still some safety concerns in the community, is just not prudent. It's not malicious. It's not against anyone. I'm for everyone. I'm for the children. That's what we're here for. That's what the board's here for. So I take offense and umbrage to that comment. Regarding the support for our parents, we're here for the parents. We want to provide as much support as we can. We've offered things on how to help their children in the Zoom environments, in the seesaw environments for the younger children. We do that. As far as opportunities for clubs, we have as many clubs as I can possibly imagine at both of our high schools. We have so many clubs and opportunities that they're not filled. So if there's an idea for a different club or a different team, we're looking into it. We put out a survey for the possibility of starting a cricket league. I think that would be great. The board is committed to creating cricket pitches at, right now, we're putting them in at Woodrow Wilson when the weather breaks at Woodrow Wilson Middle School. So those are sports that we've surveyed our community that there is interest in. We actually had more girls at middle school that were interested in cricket than boys. I didn't know girls played that sport, but I'm learning too. So the board is committed to doing as much as we can for all of our children, providing those opportunities. So thank you, Mr. Board President.
All right, thank you. Yeah, the other thing I just want to add is actually this school year, we started a volleyball program for the middle school, but I think with the COVID, it did not really take it off. But this is something that it was on the agenda last year. We had allocated funding for it, but just because the pandemic. But we'll definitely look into adding additional sports if we can. But there are certain limitations, right? We're limited with our fields. We're limited because the total number of students, the student body is huge, and you can only have so many people on a sports team. And you don't want to have the kid on a sport team which they don't have a playtime. So we'll try to balance it out, and we'll see that what else that we can do to add back into it. Okay, thank you. So, Joyce.
Councilwoman Joyce Freeman, 41 Main Street, Edison, New Jersey. I'm here to applaud the teachers and the principals from the Edison school system. I was down on the north side working in volunteering, and I watched how the principal and the vice principal came out to check on the kids to make sure that they had their lessons outside of school. And as I listen to people talk about the teachers, my niece is a teacher. She has while her son is like 5 years old, I have to go over and watch him because she has to teach the class. So everybody thinks that a teacher's job is a babysitter, but it's not. It's a very hard job. People don't understand how hard it is. The other thing about it, when people are concerned about exercise, we're going to do a whole new park plan. So I think at some of your parks in your neighborhood, maybe you'll get tennis, because tennis is 6 feet apart. All right? So that's something that in your neighborhood parks you should think about at all. And another little program that I would like, I don't know, Elizabeth probably knows the program, or either Jenny, they probably know when we were kids. I want to start the program about don't be a litter bug. Because the amount of garbage and the amount of stuff that's flying around is getting to be just ridiculous. And I know that if children, 5, 6, 7 years old, they say, no, Dad, no, Mom, don't throw that on the ground, it means more to the people. So if we can get our litter bug program going, I know it's kind of hard for like this year because of the way the year is going, but I would like to institute something about don't be a litter bug, remember? At all. And I thank everybody else, and I like to congratulate Beryl because I know he does a lot of volunteer work. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Joyce, while I have you, can I ask a few questions? Because it's rare, it doesn't happen every day that when we have a councilwoman at the Board of Ed meeting, so I got to take this opportunity. I'm sorry, yeah. So I think I totally agree. I'm very thrilled. I cannot say how much I appreciate our teachers and educators' work during this pandemic. And I'm very thrilled to hear that you do too. I think at this point, the best support we can give to our educators is to have them vaccinated. I know the teachers are category 1B in order to get the vaccine, but I heard it's very hard still, like very, very few can get appointments to actually get vaccinated. But I also heard that Freehold and somehow their teachers, their educators are going to get vaccinated somehow, magically, and probably also Metuchen. So I'm guessing it's maybe their mayor's office, their council, there's some work that has been done, that has to be done from their office, mayor's office or council, with the states to get the teacher somehow to vaccine earlier than other towns. So is there any way that our Edison City Council or mayor's office can start working on this, or?
I'll definitely talk to OEM, since you gave me all that information, and since we are Edison and we're the best, I don't
Yes.
see why we shouldn't be at the top of the list. So I'm gonna go and speak tomorrow and ask them what the problem is.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
You
If
came
there's
to meet at
anything
the
you
right
need
time.
from the board,
You gotta come more often, Joyce.
Yes, because I feel like the teachers will feel much safer and they'll feel better. Because I don't want to have a bunch of teachers out sick. You know, and some of the other schools teachers have lost their lives. So a lot of people don't think it as important, but I think it is important. So I'm going to make sure that I talk to them about that. I'm going to make sure I'm going to let them know. I'm going to go, how do other places get stuff we don't? Come on now. We got to do better.
Yes.
Okay?
okay?
And the other thing is that,
Thank
if Township needs some collaborations with the schools, we can, talk to our nurses to see if they can go
Yes,
out and
yes,
help, vaccinate in the community and so on. We can even probably open up our school if school is not in session as a, vaccine site for a day or something like that.
Yes, because
A lot of collaboration we can do.
Yes, because we're having problems getting vaccinations for the people over 65. I don't know what the problem is, but we need to step it up some, okay? We know a couple of people, in assembly seats.
You
different
know
ones.
who to call, so.
Yes.
There you go.
I'll call them, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Jerry, can I just add something?
Yes.
Just wanted to mention that New Jersey School Boards Association is doing a seminar on just this topic, on how school board members and the administration can help teachers get a vaccine, and I believe it's on February 3rd.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Elizabeth, Carol, and I have signed up, and anybody wants, it would be a good thing to sign up for.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Tony? I saved the best to the last, man.
Can they start my time yet? Thank you. Tony Pasquale, Pine Street, Edison. So first thing I want to say is, as I'm sure most of you know, I have a special needs child who's 18, and I have to say that as difficult as it's been, for him learning in this atmosphere and remote being home, I have to say the teachers have been phenomenal. The case manager that we have has been phenomenal. She does a once-a-week fun day with the kids after school's over. And I don't know if other case managers do that, but if they don't, I just think maybe Mr. Conklin might want to kind of, ask if anybody is available to do that, because it's something that, my son looks forward to every week. It's just something that the kids, and there's some teachers that get on, and a special guest, and it's just a whole fun time for them. And it's a great time for them to just to be with other children. And then the other thing is, do we have like the different clubs and stuff? Are they occurring now, like via Zoom? Is what I'm curious on. Okay. And then with this finance task force, you and Mr. Patel are going to be, Mr. Shea and Mr. Patel are going to be getting resumes in. So the question I have is, who then will decide to be on the task force? Is that a vote from the board?
No.
Or is that just an appointed of the president?
Okay, yeah, let's finish your
Okay.
other questions. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. And then the other thing that I just wanted to, more of an off of an education thing, but more of your board setup here. I'm just curious, who decides where each board member sits? Because if you do look at the setup here, you do see, at this point with Mr. Patel in the front, you see the majority of males in the front, females in the back. And just visually, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, I'm just saying visually, it just, to me, would be,
it would be nice to, maybe Mr. Patel, he's new, maybe he should be in the back, and the senior from the back should be up in the front. Just a visual thing.
This is a better view, actually.
I'm just asking questions. And then the other thing I just wanted to comment on, and I won't name any names, but I just think as board members and as, you know, kids that go to school, we're always told that if a kid gets in trouble when they're out of school, well, they can get in trouble in school for that infraction that they've done. And I think as board members, we need to hold the board members to the same level when you're on social media. And examples, again, no names, but there was a comment on a group where there was a comparison between empathy for the teachers and empathy for the students. To me, a board member bringing that up on a social media really is not a place to do that, because you're pitting teachers against students. And I just don't think that's really something that should be said by a board member. Again, you're on social media, yeah, you're not in the meeting, but you still represent the board no matter where you go. I don't care where you are, you're still representing the Board of Education. That's the same thing with council, anybody on any boards. So I think we need to be very careful on how we represent ourselves. Also, you know, just posting pictures on how great it is that we're doing all this work and stuff. And, you know, again, you're a board. So overshadowing the board by posting a picture because you have a desk with millions of books on it and you're reading them all, I think we just need to be careful, again, with the visual that you're trying to portray. Are you trying to be the single savior of the district, or are you part of a group that makes decisions? So again, it's just something that I visually have seen and something I just wanted to bring up. So thank you.
All right, thank you. So Dr. Bragan, you want to address the clubs? Are they happening?
The clubs are happening as best as they can, virtually, and they've been, you know, since March when we were out initially. Obviously, some are better in person, right? You know, and they're limited. If you're in the art club, it's only limited to digital art and things like that, as opposed to the multimedia you would be able to do in person. But they're doing the best they can to try to have a degree of normalcy for the children.
Okay, as the question about the task force for the budget, this is the board president created the position, the committee, and the board president has the authority to appoint who is there. And that goes with the follows our board policy. I forgot the policy number that Hope just showed me. The seating chart, the board president assigned the seating chart, and I think the upper stairs, it's a better view. So, when I assign the seat, I usually go by seniority, and the people who are more senior, they come into the middle, and the junior people go into the side. So that's how it assigned. But if we going back to the normal, you will see that the seating is based on that. Okay, so this is special, and actually I like to sit over on top. You know, especially for me sitting there, I gotta look around and say who's raising a hand. You know, okay. All right. Any other? Yes.
I don't want to be last, Jerry.
I always save the best to last.
I won't get my rebuttal. God bless you.
You guys working together now? All right, good. Yes,
hi.
go.
So before I start, I'm a student, so am I allowed to give comments?
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. We love
That's what we
student
wanna
comments.
hear.
If you
Okay.
feel comfortable, you can take the mask away, you
I'll
can
just
clean
keep
it
it
up,
on.
whatever you feel, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So my name is Sayam Shah. I live in San Marigold Court, and I'm a 11th grader at JP Stevens High School.
Okay.
And I want to focus on three things. So the first thing is what's being done in terms of education, and especially I want to focus on my classes. So I did have some concerns about the how students are lacking behind and how they're on the screen a lot. But I think recently there was my teachers have said that they have to institute like a catch-up day every week. So I'm not sure if that's just for JP Stevens or for the entire Edison Township, but I think personally that's been really helpful, and for a lot of my fellow students, it's been helpful to just catch up on stuff. And for the asynchronous thing, I think even one class less on screen, it's helpful every day. So I think that's going good so far. That's the first thing. The second thing, or actually moved to the third thing, 'cause I forgot the second thing. But the third thing was sort of related to the litter book program that was mentioned before. So I think that the litter book program is something that definitely should be talked about or instituted in some way. But even going a step further is environmental education. So I'm a climate activist. I've been a climate activist for about 2 years, and I've done a bunch of things, even for the community. I held a community workshop for Edison students, and I even invited environmental organizations from across New Jersey in that workshop to educate people on climate change and environmental issues. And I even had a letter writing campaign last year when we were in school, and I got at least 400 letters signed from John P. Stevens students alone about climate action. So I know that some people might think that climate change is, somewhat of a political issue, but the latest science shows that climate change is undisputably happening, and I feel that our students need to know the basic facts, which surprisingly a lot don't, especially the people that I've talked about. They might know what climate change is, but not more of like its effects and how it's going to impact them in their future in the next generation. So even like basic environmental education, if there's some way that we can have that in the curriculum for elementary, middle, and high schoolers, I think that would be really helpful in educating everyone what's going to happen, like what are the important facts of the environment that will impact them in the future. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice. Dr. Brigham, you want to address some of his concerns?
Yeah, I think it's great stuff, and if some of your teachers are choosing to have that catch-up day and you're finding that successful as a student, good. I'm glad. Our teachers are professionals. We give them some degree of latitude to make those decisions, and if it's working in your class and for you, and you're using that time to work on projects outside of a traditional sitting in front of the Zoom, I'm glad. I'm glad if it's providing some relief. The litter bug program and environment, we got one planet, and as much as people think we're going to colonize Mars, it ain't anytime soon. Whatever your religious beliefs, we were adapted for this planet, and this climate and the atmosphere is suited for humans because this is where we are. We're not going to go to Mars and settle it. It's not going to happen. So we got to take care of our planet. So anything that we could do. The environmental sciences do begin at a young grade, and more of those curricula, as you heard at the curriculum committee, they're looking at the science curriculum for elementary. That's a big part of it. The environmental sciences beginning at the young grades and moving on through. So kudos to you, and Joyce Ship Friedman, I'm always a fan of hers, and the litter bug program, if that's something that we want to kick back up when we get back, I think that's great. I find it deplorable when I drive around in town and I see, the McDonald's cups and the bags and whatever. Now we got masks and gloves all over the place in the parking lots. We need to take more responsibility for where we are and for our planet and our community, so kudos to you. And another thing, as a student at JP Stevens, getting up here and talking in front of the mic in front of everybody, I'm proud of you. Way to do it. Way to go.
I would like to second Dr. Bragan. Sayam, thank you so much for coming over here and speaking about this. It's indeed a great moment, and we all would like to see more participation from the students because all of us here are for the students. So please ask your friends, everyone in your class and in the school, in your grade, to have more participation in the board meetings. And we all 9 board members here, and Dr. Bragan is here. Everyone's email is on the website. please reach out to all of us. Anything and everything that we all can do for the students, we're all for it. Thank you so much again.
Yeah, so just want to echo, although I love Crystal, but I like to see more students coming over to talk about, your experiences in the first hand. That's what we want to see, the initiatives, the community environment awareness. That's great. See if we can team up with the Litter Bug program, That's all part of the environment. All right, thank you very much.
I think there's a question right in the back of that.
Okay,
Yes.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Daniel Boslett. I live at 5B Center Street in Madison. I've been here in this town my entire life. I went to Edison High School, went through all the schools. I knew Dr. Bragan when he was Coach Bragan. He coached me. I just wanted a few minutes of your time tonight to support Billy Thomas. He has done a lot of great things with his program. He has worked, I am the vice president of the Edison Jets organization. 2 years ago, Billy needed the field. I guess there was a conflict here. No problem, Billy, you want to come, use the field. Danny, he tells me, make sure all the kids come. All the kids, they get in for nothing. We're not charging any of the kids. If they got a Jets jersey on, get them in here. The boys came. Every single player on his team after the game stuck around. As long as there was a Edison Jets player there, his players stuck around. Threw the ball around with him, signed autographs. Kids loved it. His program is an absolute class act. They started the day without an issue. They cleaned up every single stitch of anything that was on that field completely. Last year, we didn't have a season because of COVID. Billy asked me again, hey, can I use the field? I said, as long as it's not for practice, just a couple games, no problem. Same thing. Every time I went over there, because I take care of the field, nothing was left awry. There wasn't a stitch of garbage anywhere in the entire field. Everything was cleaned up and straightened up and put away. But the one thing that sticks in my heart with his team was not what they did when they played on that one Saturday 2 years ago. It's not what they did last year using our field. And I forgot to mention this, it's not the uniforms and the money that he's donated to us. Danny, you guys keep the gate. Open up your snack stand and make some money. 2 years ago when they played on a Saturday, our program was playing on Sunday. So our kids they went, had a great time. They got a professional team on their field and everything was fantastic. Well, you know who was there on Sunday watching my kids play? At least half of his team came in their shirts to support my kids. These are little kids from 6 to 14 years old. They took up half the stands. The parents couldn't even find somewhere to sit because they had football players all over the place. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience, and it really stuck with me on what kind of gentleman that he's got on that team. These guys play for free. They got to pay for their own uniforms. They're not making money. They're not big famous people. But those kids don't know that. And the way that they treated my boys and the way they treated those kids and encouraged them to, every one of them, keep doing good in school, guys. Don't get in trouble. Listen to your parents. Listen to your coaches. It was a wonderful experience. And no matter what the board does, I felt it was my responsibility to stand up for him and explain to you guys the experience that I've had with his program and that I really don't think it's a risk for the Edison Board of Ed to give him an opportunity to continue with his work that he does, because there's definitely unsung things that are done by his program that people don't know about. That's important. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody else? I know.
Krista, close it up.
Before I
Let's
go to Crystal. Anybody else?
That's it.
All right, Crystal,
Krista, you're up.
wrap it up.
Let's go.
Huh? Oh, okay, all right, you can go, okay.
I might need to hold
You're
it
ready, go
myself.
ahead.
Wait, one moment. One moment, because I'm not gonna recognize myself. A few members of the public came up, and you asked them for their name and address.
Yes.
No, you're not allowed to ask people for their name and address. We went through this with the town council. Of course, they think you can give your name and address. That's not what the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act Sunshine Law states. When it's the public's time to speak, let them speak. The reason why I believe people shouldn't have to give their name and address, it stops people that they're in the military, special forces, police officers that might have made drug busts, police officers' wives might not want to come up here and give their address. So it's not, like they said at the town council meeting, it's not about me making a circus. It's never a circus to promote the law and your First Amendment rights. Please stop asking people for their name and address when they come up here. That's a demand. But again, I can come up here, recognize myself as Spider-Man. You have many parents, domestic violence victims, they're divorced. But if they want to come up here and they don't want their spouse to know where they live, let's have a little common sense and let's follow the letter of the law. And I'm going to recognize myself right now. Can you start my time right now? Yeah, I didn't say mine.
Keep going, yeah.
Oh, you're keeping my time going? Well, you shouldn't have did that. Are those cameras right up there?
No,
Those aren't cameras?
those are cameras. but
No?
not shooting
Are there
video.
cameras right here pointed at this podium?
Yes.
So why can't I Oprah request when the cop broke Lozman versus Riviera Beach Supreme Court ruling and I was forcefully dragged out? Why, when I Oprah request it, you say that there's no footage? If you deny this footage, that itself is a lawsuit, because when you record there, that becomes a public record. That's not your recording, that's all our recordings. You understand that, right? Okay. Last time I came here, I want the illegal policy removed. That was 4 months ago. Shivi admitted she voted for it. You should have never voted for it. I want every member up here to admit who voted for a policy. Number one, you cannot restrict policy based on speech, on content. You cannot restrict free speech based on content. When I come up here during public comments, and the Supreme Court ruled, there's a case ruling saying during public comments you can speak about anything you want, even the International Space Station, you cannot tell me it must be school-related. By doing so, you're violating the New Jersey State Constitution, the United States Constitution, the Open Public Meetings Act, the Sunshine Law, in some cases, Robert's Rules of Order, Lozman versus Riviera Beach Supreme Court ruling, another one, I can't remember the case law, and it's time to stop. This meeting is not any of your meetings. This meeting is for the public to come in, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason the Supreme Court made that decision. What if I wanted to come in here and say, hey, I don't think this BOE member is good for our children, or I don't think a person in this faculty, there's a reason why the Supreme Court rules the way they do. I'm never going to come in here and curse, but for the record, Rosenfeld versus New Jersey, yes, you can curse, as long as you're not acting disorderly and like a fool. Vaccines, watch out taking the vaccines. Number one, there's no proof they work, and you don't know what the side effects are going to be yet. It's too early to tell. Bragan, Dr. Bragan and other members up here, because Northgrave tried to say this to me one time. If I ever see you guys out and I'm like, Conway or Patel, Mohan or she, this is something I've done since high school. If you ever hear me, Dr. Bragan, ever say Bragan, I want you to know it's not out of disrespect, and you can always correct me, but there is, it's something I always do. I spoke, make January 7 a holiday, Orthodox Christmas, otherwise you guys discriminate. I'm put in the newspapers too, so let's do the right thing. I spoke to internal affairs cops today, and they all agreed with me. They researched every lie brought to their attention. They agree with me 100%, and you know what they decided? They decided that that police officer that's up there, he takes his order from the chief of police and the chain of command down. He does not take his orders from this lawyer, from you, from lawyer Northgrave, or any. Of course, if I'm up here and I'm disorderly and he feels, you guys don't need to tell him, he'll know if I'm being disorderly. He can drag me the hell out of here. Of course he can. But you cannot just drag people out here based that you don't like the speech that they're making. You cannot tell people this is not school board related and then throw them out. So I just want to ask one thing. Jerry Shee, I offer you a challenge. Would you like to do the right thing, the patriotic thing, the American thing? You took the oath to uphold the New Jersey and USA state constitution. Would you and the members up there right now that you know it's illegal, the town council said it was illegal, would you like to correct yourselves? Show the right thing for the children, how to be responsible. We can help the children and we can follow the law at the same time. There's no reason we can't do both. Jerry, would you like to remove that illegal policy?
Hope you want to address that policy?
No, it's not hers. It's for the.
We'll have.
It's for the law. It's for the board members to remove the policy. Don't put her in the hot seat.
No,
Jerry, would you like to remove the policy?
If it's illegal, yeah, we'll remove it, but I'll let the Hope address the policy.
The current policy is the policy that is adopted by Strauss-Esme, the policy committee, the policy service. And the language in the current policy is consistent with the language in the Open Public Meetings Act.
No, it is not. There's actually a Supreme Court case law that says once public comments hits, you can speak for anything you want. The policy you created says no, if it's not school board related, we can throw you out. And I apologize. I disagree with you 1,000%. The town council disagrees with you. The lawyers disagree with you. The Supreme Court in New Jersey.
We'll have the attorney look into it, okay?
Okay.
So who's next?
So it will be removed? Because I'm going to look into every member that voted for it. I'm going to let it known to the public that when election season comes, you make all the promises in the world how you're going to respect their rights, and then once you get in there, you guys pass policy. You can pass a policy no Hispanic people can be in this meeting. Is that cop going to kick every Hispanic? No, you can't do that because it's against the USA Constitution.
Crystal, your time's up.
You can pass a policy.
Crystal,
no cameras.
your time's up.
I'll come back to my rebuttal. God
All right.
bless you. Oh, I'm going to come back and talk about the overrepresented.
Your time's up. You can come up and talk about later, okay?
And why there's no blacks, Hispanics, or anybody else up there. Thank you. I'm not going to have the government turn me against my own police. The police are here to enforce my laws. I don't think they enforce my rights too. They don't take orders from you guys.
Hope my clock starts now. Mr. Shee, I'm an attorney. I don't need to, it's very sad day that I have to say that I'm an attorney. I know my legal rights.
I know you're attorney, yeah.
Number two, I think the founders of the Constitution really created the Board of Education to keep the checks and balances. Your superintendent, not my superintendent, put his ego ahead of kids' issues, not the 1 time, 2 times, and 3 times. When me and another person came back asking for 3 IT positions questioning, he got angry. He showed he's saying that you guys are political, then he later apologized. And now, let me put the legal words. In UK, in New Zealand, in Australia, the doctors are called as misters. They're not called as a doctor. The second thing, all the Harvard professors having the PhDs must be called as a mister only, not as a doctor. I hope your superintendent is not above the Harvard professors. It's my legal right to call either Mr. or no Mr. Your superintendent can file a defamation against me. I will exercise my First Amendment rights of saying what I want to say. If he doesn't want to address the kids' issues, there is no respect from my side to him. All these days I respected him a lot, and now you being a BOE president, And Mohan being the vice president, all the BOE members I'm asking, put the checks and balances on your superintendent. If he doesn't follow the checks, I will have to really bring the motivation, pull the people together. I brought 8 issues of the kids, and he stopped me, and he only found that Mr. versus doctor. This is insane that kids are suffering, people are dying, and the ego of being a doctor and Mr. I'm sorry, Mr. Jerry, Mr. Shi, sorry. I truly believe you guys have to put some checks and balances. That is number 1. Number 2, Mr. Biral, please don't encourage the kids. If they say something a problem, there will be retaliation from the teachers and principal. Hope you understand that. Don't put the high school kids in trouble of bringing the school issues here. They need to work with the teachers. They need to work with the principal. So I have seen examples. There is a retaliation. And I can tell you one thing. Mr. Shea, I'll give you one more example. The Spanish teachers are really giving class engagement scores that they can see 33 kids raising their hands or not. Each kid is different. We are going through the pandemic. If the kid doesn't raise, oh, your son or a daughter raised only 2 times hand, so I'm giving 70. I'm giving 80 marks. So is this the time to see that? Can I ask them, can you see 33 people in a simple laptop box? No. And then, when I ask the teacher that, why are you not using Zoom? Oh, my preference is GoTo. So teachers can get their choices of using GoToMeeting or Zoom, but kids has to raise the hand all the time. You know the optimum issues. You know the kind of slowness. When the teacher asks a question, after 10 seconds, kids will raise the hand. And I think, there are a lot of issues that I want to address. Some of them are forwarded to your superintendent, and I'm no longer going to forward any emails to your superintendent. I'll bring it to here, and I'll coordinate with whether it's a Facebook or it's a WhatsApp, I will bring a movement to challenge the school admin, especially your superintendent, understand kids' issues more than his personal ego. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Shea, I'd like to respond to that.
Yep.
How you're disrespecting me, you turn into me disrespecting you, astounds me. I addressed every issue with the students that you mentioned and will continue to, because I'm here for the students. And I don't know what they do in New Zealand. I happen to have been a college professor, and everyone was addressed as doctor that had that earned doctorate, whether it was a PhD, EDD, or a medical doctorate. That notwithstanding, I did not disrespect you. You disrespected me. And you get up there and you make a threat that you're coming after the board for not holding me accountable because I corrected you. And then afterwards, you repeatedly said, Mr., with emphasis, as a disrespect to me. You can say in whatever you feel towards me. Call me whatever you so desire. That's your right and that's your choice. I'm committed to it's my time to talk now, sir. That's again being disrespectful. All right, I'm not going to engage with this. You got the minutes back, and I didn't say a word when you spoke just now. So I'm not engaging with you. Nonetheless, I'm here for the kids. If you're going to make a threat that somehow you're coming after me, bring it on.
I'm not political like you, sir.
Good night.
I'm not political like you.
All right, Tony.
So Tony DePasquale, 2 Pine Street. So I do know the policy of the president being able to create whatever committees that they want to. And I'm just going back to this financial task force. Because with something that is so serious as far as the finances, where are the checks and balances that the president and vice president they can, but where are the check and balances that they will be in place with the vice president and president, that they would be the only ones to choose these 5 people to create this task force? And I did look at the policy. I know this policy's been around for a long time. But again, where are the checks and balances when you have everybody else up there who has a role in the finances of the board and of the school district? Just to make sure that the people that are chosen for the correct reasons. Again, and I've been saying this for 2 years, the trust of the board, needs to always be there of the residents. So again, depending on who is chosen for the task force, again, I think should be under scrutiny by the other board members and the residents, just again for those checks and balances, because you're basically just giving, this policy basically just gives the president, carte blanche to pick whoever they want to, even if the person's qualified or not. So that's a lot of trust that's being put into basically one person. So I really think it's a pretty bad policy that the board has to have a president be able to just put a task force together like that. So again, looking forward to see who's going to be on that task force. It will just be interesting to see who, and hopefully we can see the qualifications of those that are chosen. And then just one other thing that I just wanted to bring up. Again, I was reading through the policies last week, and the board's self-evaluation policy that was adopted January 2011, has that ever been done? Because here it says, the board will annually adopt an evaluation instrument that permits individual board members to record their assessments of the conduct of the meetings, fiscal management, and then it says the assessments of the board will then be tabulated and presented at a regular board meeting of the board in which superintendent will be invited to participate. The board will formulate an appropriate goal and priorities that will serve to guide the board in the ensuing school year. Is that done? Has that ever been done? Has it been done in private, private session? Because I know I really have not seen it in public session. So I'm just wondering if you have a policy, again, if I'm wrong that this has been done, well then just let me know. But if it hasn't been done, I'd like to know why. And again,
The answer is yes.
It has been done?
Yes.
At board meetings?
Correct.
When is it done? Is there a specific month? Is it December?
We have done that before. I don't remember.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then I'll just make sure. And now, is it done in public? That's the question.
I don't recall.
Okay, but will it
was
be done
done.
in public?
We'll follow the procedure. We'll follow
Okay.
the policy. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, no.
They tell you to start my time before I even recognize myself. That in itself is another violation of the Open Public Meetings Act. Cristo, Middlesex County, you're welcome to start the time now. Many people say, oh, don't come here to say what you have to say for certain things. Go to the town council. I completely disagree. When 60% of the budget comes to the Board of Education and you're dealing with the children and you guys get more money than the town council receives with all the services that they provide to the community, you guys still get more money, $270 million. So yeah, that's why during public comments, everybody is free to come in here. I don't care what policy you can make a policy, no black people to come in here. Are the police gonna enforce that? So now it goes back to common sense again. About the superintendent's contract, I found it disgusting that when I was running for when I was cheering before, I thought he was bashing the BOE members. I didn't know it was a threat for them to go after you. There's times I mistakenly said superintendent and said your name, and you never interrupted me, and that shows your character right there, because I said some accusations I met on Anderson, and you still let me go. You didn't even correct me, so I don't got a problem with you, Reagan. But if you do corrupt stuff, I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna take that back, and I'm gonna expose you for it. Now, I happen to be getting sued politically by a teacher. I want to know why the teacher that happens to be suing me has the same. When I was here, Beth Maroney said, Jerry, she said that you paid for every lawyer, for the committee of the whole, for everybody's lawyer. So I want to know why the teacher suing me, Fusco, happened to be the same lawyer as Shannon Pang and Mahesh Bhagia during the investigation into the racist flyers. That's a little bit, and it's not just that. You Board of Ed members are not allowed to speak even to a principal. So there is evidence coming out that people have spoken to teachers. When that evidence comes out, I hope it comes out sooner than later, I'm getting sued for political retaliation. I never slandered the teacher. I just sent an email to Councilman Brescher, hey, the woman has the same name as a sex predator from Carteret, Perth Amboy teacher. I said, hey, if it's the same person, fire her. How is that slander? And even if I went out and said whatever, and I thought it was her, that's still not slander. So, in fact, you guys did that lawsuit on me for when I ran for the Board of Education, so you guys can go put out there. You can't slander a teacher. Jerry, I can come up here and say, Jerry, I saw you cutting my brake lines yesterday. What the hell are you trying to do, get me in a car accident? You cannot sue me. Mohan, you cannot tell members of the public that whether you're innocent or guilty, that's, everyone's innocent until proven guilty. What you can't do is tell members of the public that if they question you, you're going to sue them. No. Now you're intimidating the public, not to question the government officials. No, I will not stand for that. And I will find out every single member that did that policy. I want it removed. It's going to be removed immediately. It is illegal. And again, using teachers to go after the BOE, to use teachers to go after their political opponents is the most disgusting thing. And there is evidence to it. Out of all the lawyers in New Jersey, why they got Peng's lawyer and Mahesh's lawyer, and you heard Beth Maroney say that Jerry paid for all those lawyers. Common sense. Common freaking sense. Why were there town council members and BOE members conspiring with the teacher to sue a member of the public that I love my community, that the only thing I did wrong is say, hey, if this is a same-sex predator, look into it and fire her for the safety of our children. What did I do wrong, Jerry? I understand the other three scumbags. I hate them too. I would have filed lawsuit on them too. But, at the end of the day, no, you shouldn't have did that, because I'm going to file lawsuits as a personal citizen, but you as a government body should have never did that. Even if I don't like them, they have every right to have questioned that teacher, all of that. And I'm sick of that teacher acting like she was a victim. I heard the bullshit she said in the newspaper article. I heard it. No,
Do I need to
Rosenfeld versus New Jersey.
Do I need to remind you one more time?
No, you don't need to remind me.
If you are
I'll
already
remind
being
you.
sued
You're
for
out of order.
defamation, I am
You're
not.
breaking Robert's Rules of Order, and I'm going to remind you, Rosenfeld versus New Jersey. I'm not cursing again, but Rosenfeld versus New Jersey, I had every right to say what I had to say. You
I
wanna continue
didn't,
to interrupt me?
if you'd let me finish my sentence?
Can you wait until after I'm done?
No.
Well,
Let
are
me
you
finish
stopping my time?
sentence,
Then no.
please.
No.
My sentence is to remind you that you can be held personally
No, I
liable.
can't.
And as you have said, you are already being sued, so that you know that. I'm
The
just
case
reminding
is
you as a
getting
courtesy.
dismissed. The case is getting dismissed. Stop covering up for these people. It was already proven it's a bullshit. You can sue anybody for anything. Doesn't mean the case sticks. You guys made the lawsuit go through just to slander me in the newspaper. Shame on you. Shame on, I'm sorry, not every one of you, but those behind it. Those behind it, you know who you are. The truth is going to come out.
All right.
I already have the evidence of it. I'm waiting for the right day to release it.
Any other public comments?
Shannon, was Fusco your lawyer? Was Fusco your lawyer?
Jerry,
No.
can we go
I
into
got
our
a
closed
picture
session
of
to
you
make sure
with
we
me.
have
Can I,
time
let's move
restraints
on
right now,
to
please?
the adjourn to privilege session. Ann?
They go after the parents and the students and anybody that criticizes them in any way.
Hey.
Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Township of Edison, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, as follows. The public shall be excluded from discussion of and action upon the hereinafter specified subject matters. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows. Legal matter regarding Beams and Miller, and interview candidates for the position of Board Attorney. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter shall be made public at such time as the need for non-disclosure no longer exists. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
All right, can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second? Mrs. Maruka, roll call.
Mr. Burrell Patel?
Yes.
Mrs. White?
Yes.
Ms. Madiker?
Yes.
Ms. Podolsky?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Ms. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Mohan Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes.
All yes, the motion is carried.
Okay. So it's probably going to take us a minimum about an hour and a half to go through the process. So we're going to come out and appoint the attorney for the board. Thank you. Thank you.
Don't you think?
Okay, we're going to reconvene. Can I have a motion to reconvene the meeting?
Motion.
Second? Do I have a second? Mrs. Penn? And roll call.
Mr. Burrell Patel?
Here.
Mrs. White?
Here.
Mrs. Madiker?
Here.
Ms. Podolsky?
Here?
Dr. Chen?
Here.
Mrs. Conway?
Here.
Mrs. Peng?
Here.
Mr. Mohin Patel?
Here.
Mr. Shi?
Yes.
The motion is carried.
Okay. So Dr. Bregan, can you read the first resolution?
Yes. Resolved that the Edison Township Board of Education hereby appoints the firm Mark Attorneys at Law, located in Florham Park, New Jersey, as Board Attorney for the period of February 1st, 2021 through January 31st, 2022, in accordance with the terms and conditions set forth in the request for proposals dated January 15th, 2021, and be it further resolved that the board shall pay the firm at an hourly rate of $155 plus reimbursement for costs, and be further resolved that the board president and acting business administrator, board secretary are hereby authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the board, and be it further resolved that the notice of the appointment shall be provided as required by NJSA 18A-18-5A, parentheses 1, and be it further resolved that this resolution and the agreement shall be maintained on file and available for public inspection in the board office.
Thank you. Now we're open for public comments. See none? And roll call.
You're making a motion? You need a-
Oh, yeah, I need a motion. Yes, I'm sorry.
Motion.
Oh, Mr. Patel, second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mrs. Penn.
Mr. Burrell Patel?
Yes on the motion.
Mrs. White?
Yes.
Mrs. Madiker?
Yes.
Ms. Podolsky?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Ms. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Mohin Patel?
Yes.
And Mr. Shi?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Dr. Bergen, the second resolution?
Yes. Resolved that the Edison Township Board of Education hereby appoints the firm Inglesino, Webster, Wiscalla, and Taylor, located in Parsippany, New Jersey, as special attorney in the area of special education for the period from February 2021 through January 31st, 2022, in accordance with the terms and conditions set forth in the request for proposals dated January 15th, 2021, and be it further resolved that the board shall pay the firm at an hourly rate of $160 plus reimbursement for costs, and be further resolved that the board president and acting business administrator, board secretary are hereby authorized to execute an agreement on behalf of the board, and be it further resolved that notice of the appointment shall be provided as required by NJSA 18A:18A-5A, parentheses 1, and be it further resolved that this resolution and the agreement shall be maintained on file and available for public inspection at the board's office.
Okay, any public comments? See none, can I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay, Mr. Patel, can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, another Mr. Patel.
Mr. Burrell Patel?
Yes on the motion.
Mrs. White?
Yes.
Ms. Madiker?
Yes.
Ms. Podolsky?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Mrs. Conway?
Yes.
Mrs. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Moheen Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes,
The motion is carried.
thank you. All right, can I have a motion for the adjournment of the meeting?
Motion granted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.